Yo, what is going on, everybody? It's Juan Solo here with A Squad Gaming, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. We're going to be talking about some Ghost Recon. Not a crazy bunch of new information, but there were a few things that came out the other day from the one and only Tom Henderson that I wanted to bring to your guys' attention for those of you guys that might not follow all the ins and outs of Ghost Recon sort of on the back end of social media. But before we jump into all those details, I did want to, I don't know how I want to put this. I want to apologize for not having more uploads on the channel. But there hasn't really been a whole lot to talk about surrounding the Ghost Recon franchise. Yeah, I probably could have played some other games, but to be honest, after the leaks came out from Tom Henderson, I mean, it's been what? It's probably been a year ago now, talking about the franchise kind of possibly going first person. And a few different things that he was able to get some information on. Whether or not it's true, who knows. But Tom Henderson very rarely gets things wrong. And I'll be honest, I was a little bit bummed, and I really just haven't had any drive to create content since then. Just because there's been a lot of stuff going on in my personal life. I've been really busy with stuff with my kids and sports and some stuff with family. A few of my family members weren't doing so hot. I had one of my buddies that I played video games with for years and years and years. For those of you guys that follow me on Twitter and stuff, you'll know this, but one of the guys that I played video games with pretty much my whole life passed away last fall. And it's been a little rough, but this has nothing to do with you guys or anything like that. I just haven't had a whole lot of new information surrounding the franchise to really talk about here on the channel, and I didn't want to force content that wasn't there, I guess you could say, from my point of view. I really enjoy covering Ghost Recon. I'm passionate about the franchise. That's why I enjoy making videos about the franchise. If I covered some other things, it would almost be forcing content to the channel, and I wouldn't be quite as passionate about it, but that's a whole nother topic for another day. But I just wanted to say thank you to all of you guys that possibly are going to be tuning into this video. For those of you guys that have followed me on YouTube and have commented on my shorts, commented on my videos, you know, hit me up over on Twitter just to see what was going on with me and everything like that. I really appreciate the support. But hopefully here within the next 6 months to a year, we'll get some sort of concrete information from Ubisoft about the next installment of the Ghost Recon franchise. Until then, it seems to be that Tom Henderson is going to be the only information that we're going to get surrounding Ubisoft as a whole, and maybe we'll get some nuggets about the Ghost Recon franchise and stuff moving forward. But with all that being said, real quick before we hop into the details, if you guys go on to enjoy... All right, guys, this is A Squad Gaming a couple days after my initial recording of the audio and stuff for this video. And I had the video rendered, I had the video edited and everything, and there was some stuff that came out on Twitter that I wanted to kind of bring to your guys' attention, because if you don't hear something officially from Ubisoft, or if you don't hear something officially like from Tom Henderson, those are really going to be your two sources that if you don't hear something from either of those, take it with a massive pinch of salt, a massive grain of salt, however you want to say it. Because I just want to bring this to your guys' attention, because if you haven't seen it already, you will see it over the next few days or something, either on Reddit or making rounds on social media and stuff like that. There was a guy named Detective Seeds. He put out a post saying that we're most likely going to see the new Ghost Recon at Summer Games Fest, which is like June 6th, he's predicting. And then there was a couple different news outlets. I believe it was comicbook.com picked this up and is saying that it's fact, and we're going to see Ghost Recon on June 6th and everything. I just want to preface here, guys, don't get your hopes up. I personally do not think we're going to be seeing any Ghost Recon at Summer Games Fest. I would not be shocked if we see absolutely no Ghost Recon in 2025. That is news or game release whatsoever. That's all I'm going to say. And with that being said, I just wanted to get that out there real quick, because I'm sure you guys will see it eventually. But now we're going to be going back to your regular scheduled programming. All right, I think we're back. Hey, Squad Gaming from the future, everybody. Just wanted to let you guys in on some new information that came out. But with all of that being said, real quick before we hop into things, if you guys go on to enjoy the video, a like rating would be super appreciated. Also, for those of you that may be new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and turn on those notifications so you do not miss any of my future uploads. If you want to stay up to date on anything and everything about the Ghost Recon franchise, because I promise you guys, if there's any information that comes out from Tom Henderson, if there's anything that comes out on Reddit that actually has concrete sources or whatever like that, you'd bet your butt we're going to be covering it here on the channel, especially with the lull, the radio silence that we've gotten from Ubisoft. It's been going on let's see, 3 years, 3.5 years of radio silence. They pretty much went dark spring of 22, and here we are May of 25, and they are still in a comms blackout, so to speak. So we'll see. But with all of that being said, we're going to be jumping into the information surrounding Ubisoft as a whole, as well as the Ghost Recon franchise. And I will link this article down below. This comes from Insider Gaming and Tom Henderson. And it basically goes on to say that Ubisoft has delayed its significant IPs to improve game quality. So this is kind of leaning more towards what Assassin's Creed Shadows did. It was delayed multiple times, and then the actual end game quality was much better than it would have been if they would have released it at its original release date. So we're going down through this article. Like I said, I'll link it down below for those of you guys that want to follow along. But he goes on to say that in the financial report from Ubisoft themselves, it said that after a thorough review of its pipeline that took place from October to December, the group decided to provide additional development time for some of the biggest productions in order to create the best conditions for success. This decision has already been beneficial to the quality of Assassin's Creed Shadows. As a consequence, fiscal year 2026, 2027, and fiscal year 2027 to 2028 will see significant growth versus fiscal year 2025 through 2026, which I believe fiscal year 26 ends on April 2026 is kind of when that fiscal year ends. So their fiscal years are usually like April to March or something like that. But on the back of strong content coming from the group's latest brands, they're going to be pushed back, is basically what he's saying. And according to their sources and the past reports, Insider Gaming understands that this includes the Assassin's Creed pipeline and the highly anticipated next installment of the Far Cry series, which has internally been pushed to late 2026. Who knows if this has anything to do with GTA? We all know that there's a bunch of companies out there that are trying not to release any games around the launch of GTA 6 because we all know how GTA 6 is going to launch. That thing is going to take over the gaming universe, and there's nothing anybody can really do about it. But going on further in the article, it says that Ubisoft's biggest productions likely also include the Splinter Cell remake under the codename North and the next mainline Ghost Recon game under the codename OVR. So with that being said there, we can see the likelihood of Ghost Recon. It is in development, it seems. Based off of all the information, all the leaks from Tom Henderson, it is in development, but it is now being pushed back along with a couple of other titles to make sure that the polish is there and the developers have plenty of time to actually smooth out all the kinks and hopefully launch those games with stable launches. We don't want to see anything like Breakpoint, and I'm sure there's a few other games and stuff like that that launched pretty badly for Ubisoft. So hopefully this pushback does allow them to kind of smooth out all the crevices and stuff for those games. Moving on further in the article, it says the announcement implies that the next year for Ubisoft could be fairly limited in terms of its billion-dollar IPs. However, it's understanding that Ubisoft currently have several smaller experiences around these games in development. For example, Assassin's Creed has 2 smaller games in development, which is a multiplayer offering codenamed Invictus, and a remake of Assassin's Creed Black Flag, codenamed Obsidian, which I'll be honest, I'm extremely excited about. I have not really been a fan of the more recent Assassin's Creed games other than Mirage, because for me, I'm an old school Assassin's Creed player. I like Assassin's Creed 1, 2, all the way up to 4 was kind of my bread and butter. Pretty much everything after that, because the timeline got a little bit too modern. And then with the RPG mechanics, that's not what I want from an Assassin's Creed game. In addition to those Assassin's Creed titles, there will be another small experience for Rainbow Six that's going to be in the works, codenamed Slice and Dice, which that's definitely the first I've ever heard about that. But for those of you guys that are fans of the Rainbow Six franchise, there will be a smaller experience coming to that as well. But overall, as of yet, Ubisoft is yet to comment on which games will release in the next 12 months. But according to some sources at the company, they believe that the short-term loss will eventually lead to a long-term game with quality titles. So with all of that being said, let me know your thoughts on this down below. It does seem to be the fact that there is a Ghost Recon game that's in development, and it is going to be pushed back, which originally Tom Henderson was talking about a 2025 release. It's looking much more like a 2026 or 2027 release, and I would definitely say if that is the case, you're probably not going to see anything from the franchise this year, whether it be a teaser, a trailer, an announcement, anything. I really doubt that you're going to see anything from that this year if it's being pushed back to 2026 or even 2027. But with all that being said, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. If you guys enjoyed this, you are excited about the future of the Ghost Recon franchise, let me know all your thoughts on that down below. Let me know your thoughts on the first-person rumors. Let me know your thoughts on the franchise as a whole and what you guys want to see in the next installment. With that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning into the channel, and I will catch you guys later. Peace out.